Hey there, Scare fans! Welcome back to Scaretastic. Today, we're diving into some real-life nightmares that happened on school trips. So buckle up, because these stories might make you think twice about signing that permission slip. Number 1. The Creepy Uncle. Let's kick things off with a tale that'll make your skin crawl. Picture this: you're a little girl on a field trip to a historic Revolutionary War site. Sounds pretty boring, right? Well, it got way too exciting for our poor narrator. This trip started off normal enough. Kids were making cornbread the old-fashioned way, learning about history. But there was an uninvited guest, one of the students' uncles. No big deal, you might think. Wrong. This creep spent the whole day eyeing our narrator. It got worse when he followed her into the girls' locker room and started touching her. Can you imagine how scary that must have been? Years later, she found out this sicko ended up in jail for having nasty pictures of kids on his computer. Talk about a close call. It just goes to show, you can never be too careful, even on a school trip. Number 2. The Neighbor from Hell. Our next story is about a high school sophomore who learned the hard way that not all neighbors are friendly. Meet Jonathan, a 30-year-old weirdo who lived down the street from our narrator. Jonathan had a crush on this poor girl, which is gross enough on its own. But it got way worse during a school trip to a park. This creep showed up uninvited and tried to convince her to leave with him. When she said no, he grabbed her ankle and started dragging her away. Thank goodness for her friend Rebecca, who punched Jonathan in the nose and scared him off. Number 3. New York Nightmare. Who doesn't love a trip to the Big Apple? Well, our next storytellers might have a different opinion after their experience. 2 rebellious 6th grade girls thought they'd have a great time sneaking away from their class. Spoiler alert, they didn't. These kids found themselves being followed by a creepy guy offering to buy them clothes and jewelry. When they tried to lose him, he chased them down an alley with a knife. They barely escaped by running into a crowd. It just goes to show, those boring teacher rules? They're there for a reason. Staying with the group might not be as exciting, but it's a whole lot safer than being chased by a knife-wielding creep. Number 4. Cabin in the Woods. Our 4th story sounds like something straight out of a horror movie. A group of kids on a cabin trip, sharing spooky stories before bed. Little did they know, they were about to star in their own real-life horror flick. In the middle of the night, these poor kids woke up to find a shadowy figure outside their window. And get this, the creep was holding what looked like an axe or sledgehammer. Can you imagine how terrifying that must have been? Here's the twist, it turned out to be the camp coordinator trying to scare them for fun. Talk about a sick joke. This guy thought it'd be hilarious to traumatize a bunch of kids. Not cool, dude. Not cool at all. Number 5. The Highway to Hell. Our last story might make you think twice about looking out the window on your next bus ride. Our narrator was just a little 1st grader, innocently watching the cars go by on her way to the zoo. That's when she spotted something no kid should ever have to see. A guy in a Jeep pulled up next to the bus and started doing, well, let's just say some very inappropriate things while looking right at her. The poor kid didn't even know what she was seeing, but it was enough to cause quite a stir when the other kids noticed. It's a harsh reminder that there are some real sickos out there. And sometimes, they're bold enough to do their creepy stuff in broad daylight, right next to a bus full of kids. Yikes. Before you go, don't forget to smash that like button if you enjoyed this video. And if you want more terrifying tales, hit subscribe and that notification bell. We've got plenty more scares coming your way.